Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Sam, and in this video, we're going to be talking about books, every homeschool mom's favorite thing to talk about. So if you love books like I do, get ready. This is going to be a chatty one. Let's get started. Hi, if you are new here, welcome. My name is Sam and I am a homeschooling mom to 3 kiddos. I have a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a not yet 1-year-old. He is just starting to crawl and it's adorable. We all love it. But today's video is going to be about all things books. I have quite the stack here, and it's kind of I don't want to say it's random. There was some thought into this, but there's a lot of things in here. Some read alouds, some things for my first grader for him to read. I have some like government election patriotic type books. And I also just have some random books as well. So a little bit of everything, and they're also not in any particular order, so it's going to be interesting. Let's see, what else? Also, I got these from Target and Amazon, and it was before Prime Day. I figured none of these would really go on sale for Prime Day, and I was correct. But Target did have their buy 2 get 1 free, and it was amazing. I got 17 books for like right around $100, and I was pretty impressed. You're wondering why I didn't get 18? Well, one of them was a DVD, because it was buy 2 get 1 free of like a movie or books or video games, I think is what it is. And that sale always comes back around, so don't sleep on Target. They may not have like a huge selection of books, but they do have actually like a pretty decent selection, just they don't have all the books. So you might not be able to find everything that you would be looking for. And the other thing I will say, Target was amazing because you can tell that someone, or I could tell that someone had actually hand packaged my order, which was amazing. Sometimes when I order books from various places, I'm hoping that they get shipped well. But this was actually like, it had a piece of cardboard, and then a big book was on the bottom, and then a bunch of the little books next to each other, and then another big book on the top, and the whole thing was wrapped in saran wrapped and taped, and then there was the air bags in the box, and it was just wrapped so well. It was giving me like Good and Beautiful vibes, but without all the bubble wrap. And because sometimes when I get them from Amazon, for example, they're not packaged very well. You can just tell they were like thrown in a bag, which always surprises me because Amazon started out as just selling books way back in the day. Late 90s, I feel like, is when that started. And anyway, so let's get into the books. Okay, so the first few books I have are just some Paw Patrol books. If you have young kids, then and you've never heard of the Paw Patrol, I would be very surprised. We already have some Paw Patrol books, but my daughter has been asking for more because she sees them on the back, and she was like, where are all these other ones? So we have Cat Pack Power and Rebel and Crew. My kids still haven't seen that because it's not on Paramount Plus yet, but I think I saw that it's coming soon, so I prepared in advance. And then I have Brave Little Pup, as well as Howl for Halloween. You gotta have. I'm adding to our Halloween collection. There's a couple other Halloween, not just Halloween, like some other holiday books. So always preparing ahead of time because I'm very type A and I like to plan ahead in all things. So anyway, just some Paw Patrol books for you. The next thing I have, this one looks adorable, a Rover story. I have never seen this before, but my kids are obsessed with space. Obsessed, especially my oldest. He loves it. He wants to be an astronaut. He talks about, well, I have to know engineering, I have to know this, I have to know that, and I need to learn Russian. So he's like, when are we going to start learning Russian in school, Mom? And I'm like, well, not yet. But they're very interested, especially in rovers. We've read a lot of books about rovers. I have another book. Actually, I'll just pull that one out right now, since I'm looking at it. We actually had this one as a library book last year when we did our huge space unit, and we are still doing space because they just love it. This one, if you are doing space at some point, you should get this book. It's very well done. It's like a little story, but it also talks about how it was like the rovers are made in the lab, and it just talks about Mars and a little bit about the space program, and just some interesting. Yeah, oh, here, this one. This was very interesting to my kids. The timeline of the rovers. So, but not just the rovers. I'm sorry. It should be the Mars missions, because not every mission was a rover. And we've talked about the difference between a lander and a rover and all those things. So, this was very interesting. And my daughter really liked this one when we had it as a library book last year. And so I just had to go ahead and get it. We also have a current library book right here. If you've never read this one, you should get this one too. Red Rover, Curiosity on Mars. This one was also about curiosity. But there is currently a rover on Mars called Perseverance, and we talk a lot about the other ones, Spirit and Opportunity. So, yeah, if you have not read any rover books, you should get them, because they're usually pretty well done. Anyway, so this one is called A Rover's Story. And it looks really good. It says, the back says, meet resilience, a Mars rover determined to live up to his name. Rez was built to explore Mars. He was not built to have human emotions. We can tell where this is going. But he learns new things from the NASA scientists who assemble him. He begins to develop human-like feelings. Maybe there's a problem with his programming. But human emotions or not, launch day comes, and Rez blasts off to Mars, accompanied by a friendly drone helicopter named Fly. But he quickly discovers that Mars is a dangerous place filled with dust, storms, and giant cliffs. As he navigates Mars's difficult landscape, he is tested in ways that go beyond space exploration. So he's giving me Wall-E vibes a little bit. But this looks like a good read aloud, and we are definitely going to get to this at some point this year. The next one we have on the pile is of the very, very far north. This, I feel like a lot of homeschoolers have either read or I've seen it around. So this is going to be another good read aloud. It just looks adorable. And I know there's a second one, I believe, if not more. But I know there's at least a second one. We're getting into some holiday books now. Christmas on the Farm. Halloween in the Orchard. We already have Thanksgiving in the Woods. I believe that was the first one. It's right there. And that's very well done. We love that one. And when I saw they had other ones, I just had to have them, I guess. There's also an Easter one. I think that just came out or is about to come out. So have to get on that too. But those are very well done. If you've not read Thanksgiving in the Woods, it's just a cute little... Sorry, this is the Halloween one. But very well done. We love our seasonal holiday books that we pull out all the time. Okay, here's another construction site. Good night construction site series. We have a lot of these. We have the Valentine's Day one. We have an Easter one. We have this one now. Construction site gets a fright. These ones are this one in particular. This series, I think, like specifically from Target, is like a lift the flap. So we have the Easter and the Valentine's Day one, lift the flap. There's also a Christmas lift the flap. We don't have that one, but we have the other. There's like another Christmas one, and we have that one. So anyway, my kids love these ones. Next we have some Star Wars. This is a really big one. This has actually all 9 episodes, like the books that go with each of the 9 movies. Oh, here we go. I should say the main 9 movies, although Rogue One is still the best one. You didn't hear that from me. But also, you did, because Rogue One was the best one. And then we also got this one too. 5-minute Star Wars stories. My kids are really into Star Wars, and I would not be surprised if we had a whole Star Wars Halloween costume and everybody picked a character. They've been talking about that. It's gonna happen. But we also have some of these other 5-minute stories. We have the Thomas and the Tank Engine, Paw Patrol, of course. We have the Frozen one, of course. And we have Cars, like Lightning McQueen. Pixar. Minions, we have that one too. So we have a lot of these. We like, these are good like right before bed stories. We enjoy them quite a bit. So anyway, had to get some Star Wars. So tell me you are a 90s child without telling me you're a 90s child. Yeah, right here. Frog and Toad. Do you guys remember this? Because I do, okay? And Henry and Mudge also. Yes, please. I remember these. These are all level 2 readers. Yeah, both of them. So there's 3 in the Frog and Toad one. And let's see. Frog and Toad all year. Frog and Toad are friends, and Frog and Toad together. And this is part of the I Can Read. There's also the Step Into Reading and this other one, Ready to Read, but they're all, you know, they're all leveled basically the same. So yeah, these are level 2s for my first grader. He loves to read. If you have any space recommendations, he's really into that. And then we have the Henry and Mudge ones. Okay, there's a bunch in here. Henry and Mudge, the first book, In Puddle Trouble, In the Green Time, Under the Yellow Moon, In the Sparkle Days, and The Forever Sea. So Henry and his trusty pal Mudge on their adventures. Does anybody else remember reading those? Because I sure do. Tell me you're an early 90s baby without telling me you're an early 90s baby. Okay. All right. Next up, we have a few read alouds. Mr. Popper's Penguins. I feel like that's kind of a classic. I've never read this as a kid. Tell me, if you are a homeschooling mom, do you get more excited about the books that you've never read as a kid? Because there are so many books that I never read as a kid that I feel like are classics, but somehow missed. My husband and I talk about this all the time, like books that he's read versus books that I've read growing up. And it's funny, like, I never read any of the Narnias. I know, shocking. I was more of a Harry Potter kid, but yeah, I'm really excited to read Narnia when my kids are like just a little bit older. But anyway, yeah, tons of books that I've never read that I can't wait to read with my kids, and I'm probably more excited about it than they are. So anyway, Mr. Popper's Penguins. I also want to do the movie, and we're doing like a world geography unit this year, so I'm hoping we can wait to do this until we get to Antarctica. But I'm letting my kids pick which continent we do, and currently we're doing Australia, and I don't know what they're going to pick next, but I'm hoping I can just save Antarctica for the winter, because it's like 110 outside now, and I don't know if I'd be feeling the Antarctic penguin vibes that I'd need to feel to read that book. This one I feel like I've seen all over homeschooling channels in the past year or so, and I know there are more in this series. We just have this first one, Heartwood Hotel, A True Home. It looks adorable. I'm so excited to read all the books with my kids this year. Specifically chapter books. We've always read to the kids, but it's always been like picture books or books that have to do with whatever we're learning. So we're finally diving into some chapter books this year, including The Wild Robot. Again, I know this is a series, and I know that this has been quite popular in the homeschooling circles, so of course I grabbed it. And I also saw the movie is coming this fall, which is exciting. Always got to watch a movie when you read the book, even though the book is always better. It's always fun to watch the movie anyway. And plus I also think it's really cool to watch the movies and sort of see, sometimes it's easier to see the things that you've imagined in your head on the screen, like, oh yes, that helps me visualize whatever was in the book. So here we go with that. So I also have 2 box sets that I had to pull off the shelf because I had already put them on the shelf. But we got, and this one's next on the list, but we have the box set of the Magic Tree House 1 through 28. There are more, of course. But I remember reading a bunch of these as a kid myself, and my kids have really enjoyed them so far. We've done the first one, yeah, Dinosaurs Before Dark, and then we just finished reading Midnight on the Moon. Again, we're obsessed with all things space. My daughter did pick the dolphin one next, and we are going to read our, what's it called? Hour of the Olympics, because the Olympics are coming soon, and my kids are very excited about it. This is the first time they'll be like old enough to understand, I feel like, what's going on. So between our world geography and all these sports that they've never heard of, anyway, we're really excited for the Olympics, so we're definitely going to read that one. And there's a bunch that I have kind of flagged to read this year, again, as we do our world geography. So, yeah. Magic Treehouse. Again, tell me you're a 90s baby without telling me you're a 90s baby. And then I also have this set. Speaking of books that I've never read myself, I have the entire, I think this might be close to his entire collection. I'm not sure. I think there are a couple maybe missing. And by the way, this huge stack I got for like $35 from Amazon. Not from Amazon itself. I had to click and it was sold by like, you know, like a shop that went through Amazon, you know, how you can do that. But yeah, otherwise this is usually, the Magic Treehouse books are usually, I want to say like $70 or $80, something kind of ridiculous. And same with this one. I think I got this one from Target, and this was a pretty good deal. I want to say around $35 again for all these books. The Witches, Fantastic Mr. Fox, James and the Giant Peach, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator, Boy, The Twits, The Magic Finger, The Giraffe and the Pelly and Me, Danny the Champion of the World, Going Solo, Matilda, Billy and the Minpins, George's Marvelous Medicine, The BFG, SEO Trot. Never heard of a few of those. But anyway, again, books I never read as a kid, but I've seen some of the movies. James and the Giant Peach, BFG, my husband and I saw that. I've seen the original Willy Wonka with Gene Wilder. I have not seen the Johnny Depp one. I want to see it. I've just never seen it. And I really want to see the prequel Wonka that came out, I feel like, this past year. But anyway, my kids are really excited. They asked me which ones have movies, and so those are the ones that they want to read first. They picked out James and the Giant Peach. I was kind of surprised they didn't pick Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Oh, and I also saw Witches. My husband showed me that. I'd never seen that growing up, and that was, I don't want to say it was terrifying, but it was just like, it was odd. I don't know. But I know there was a remake of that recently in the past 5 or so years. I think Anne Hathaway took on the main role. Anyway. So, yes, I love more books I've never read that have movies. Of course, we're going to read them and watch them. So this last stack of books are, I'm just going to call them government books. Some of them are more like U.S. history type, patriotic. We're just going to call them government books, okay? But you can sort them as you see fit. So this first one, actually these first two, I'm going to save them for last because they're pretty amazing. Okay. So this first one we have here, We the People, the Constitution of the United States. This one basically walks you through the preamble. I'm going backwards. Sorry, that might bother some people. Let me flip it the other way. So here we go. It goes through just the preamble, just like a little line on each page. Then it talks about at the end, signers of the Constitution, and then sort of the history of writing the Constitution. Is how that goes. This one, it's called Be a Good Citizen, and it says children's book about laws, rights, and responsibilities for kids. I had a certain expectation when this book arrived, and I just feel like it didn't cover quite what it said it was going to cover. It's still an okay book. It's mostly about just having good character, and making good choices, following the rules, helping others around you, showing you care, showing that you care. That is being a good citizen. There's also this 2-page spread. While working from home and going to school remotely, let's put our citizenship skills to work digitally. Remember, when you are online, what you do and what you say should be kind and respectful. I mean, that's all well and good. So, there's nothing wrong with this book, but it just wasn't really what I was hoping it was going to be. It's more about just having good character and being a good person. This one, Otto's Tales, there's a whole series with this. I mean, everything from like different holidays like Veterans Day, Columbus Day. There's even some about like some professions like policemen, maybe like, I think I saw one about being a baker, the Statue of Liberty. There's one on the White House. There's one on the Hoover Dam. There's one on, maybe there's one on Independence Hall. I know there's one on Mount Rushmore. There's a whole bunch of these. This one is specifically on the national anthem and the Pledge of Allegiance. This is your PSA if you have not taught your kids the Pledge of Allegiance or the national anthem. Don't worry, I haven't either, but we're doing it this year. So just telling you, if you have forgotten to teach them these things, you should do that. So anyway, this one looks really cute. Yeah, cute illustrations. And good story and just a little history mixed in. Don't we all love that? And then it has on the back, we love our history, and it talks about, there's a little, like definition for Baltimore, Fort McHenry, War of 1812, the Second War of Independence, War of 1812, Francis Scott Key, Star Spangled Banner, National Anthem, Pledge, and Dwight D. Eisenhower. There you go. And it also has the words to the national anthem in the back. So, anyway, this looks great. Like I said, there's a whole series if you want to check out the other ones that exist. This one is called Our Flag Was Still There, the true story of Mary Pickersgill and the Star Spangled Banner. And this talks about this 30 feet tall and 42 feet long flag. The story of the giant flag begins in 1812 and stars a major on the eve of battle, a seamstress and her mighty helpers, and a poet named Francis Scott Key. This isn't just a story of the flag, it's a story of the poem that became our national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner. So it talks about her and her other seamstresses making the flag. Sorry, I guess I should show you the inside. And also Francis Scott Key, Fort McHenry. Yeah, as the sun rose, Key saw the huge flag still flying over the fort and was inspired to write a poem in honor of the victory. And it also says that it is on display at the Smithsonian. If you have not been there or seen it, you should. So anyway, that one looks great. Again, we're doing the national anthem this year. So here's another one on the Star Spangled Banner. This one, again, is kind of like that We the People one that went through the preamble to the Constitution. This one, it's like a line on each page. But it not only, did you know that the Star Spangled Banner is more than one verse? I mean, I guess I really wouldn't call it a verse because there's no like chorus that you sing over and over again, but there's actually 4 verses to the Star Spangled Banner, and it goes through the whole thing. I was reading this and I was like, I don't know these words because there's more. There's more to the poem, so it actually goes through the whole thing. And it also has the sheet music for it, and then the other verses over here. The Star Spangled Banner is one of the hardest songs to sing if you are teaching it to your kids because it is over an octave. You have to have quite a range vocally. If you don't know what any of that means, that's okay. But it actually is a very difficult song to sing, not just because people forget the words, but because of the range in which you need to have to actually sing the song is difficult. So anyway, but there's that. Here's another one on the preamble This one's called We the Kids, excuse me, the Preamble to the Constitution of the United States. And again, it does go through, you know, like line by line, the preamble, which is also one of those things that I never learned as a kid, which I know a lot of people had to memorize. That's one of those things that I never learned. So this next one is called Our Pledge, Our Promise. It's the Pledge of Allegiance Explained. It basically goes through each line. So that's the line from the pledge. And then it has like a definition or kind of what it means explained a little bit easier to kids and why we say it. And then at the end it has some fun facts again. Even including when Neil Armstrong put a flag on the moon. And it talks about when they added Under God. I've seen that in a few of the other Star Spangled Banner books, or the other Pledge of Allegiance books, I'm sorry, where it says when they added that. I always find that kind of interesting. How to fold a flag, don't let it touch the ground, that sort of thing. So there you go. That one looks really good if you're teaching the pledge. Now these last two. So these last two books, I'm very excited to share. They look amazing. I bought both of them because they're written by the same person, even though like this one on the Declaration of Independence, we will not be getting to this year, but I just wanted to have it on the shelf for when we do U.S. history next year. So this one is called Side by Side, the Declaration of Independence. And basically, it kind of reminds me of the Shakespeare books where you get the Shakespeare version on one side, like what he wrote, and then on the other side, it's like the plain English version in case you don't understand anything that's being said by Shakespeare, which I do not, so don't feel bad. So this is basically the same thing, but the Declaration of Independence. So it has the original text on this side, and then the plain English version on the other side. And it breaks it up bit by bit, and then it also has like facts or definitions or history lessons that tie into whatever it is that it's talking about on that page on the bottom. So it looks amazing. If you do U.S. history, you should look this one up. That looks really cool. Oh, and at the end, it has, you know, some facts about the signers. It's the Declaration's legacy, what happened to the signers. So it talks about 11 of them specifically, but then it says, you know, kind of what happened to each of the 56 signers. So you should look into that one. So this last book I have is on the Constitution. It's called The Interactive Constitution. There's like lift the flaps and all that sort of stuff. And it is amazing. My husband and I loved looking through this, as did my son. This talks about what the Constitution is, some types of government, a little brief history of the Revolutionary War, creating the Constitution, the balance of power between the large and small states and how they figured that out, the preamble, another balance of power, checks and balances between the three branches of government, and then each branch of government gets its own like 2-page spread. So we have the legislative branch, the executive branch, and the judicial branch. You can feel the black robes that the Supreme Court wears. This page is really cool, amending the Constitution, and it has all the amendments, and you can basically see the year that it was amended and then whatever the amendment was. So that's pretty cool. And it also goes into how the amendment process actually works. And then last but not least, a page on the Bill of Rights. So it goes into detail a little bit more about the first 10. So that one is pretty cool as well. And definitely recommend if you are going to do government at some point that you look into this one. Pretty cool. So that is it for today's video. If you like a good book haul, please give this video a thumbs up. I love books. I just love them so much. We read all the time, so I'm always looking to add new things to our homeschool. More book hauls to come, and maybe some book lists too about specific things that we've read about different topics or seasonal things like that. So subscribe if you want to see any of those, and comment down below if you have read any of these, or any recommendations that you might have, or how your kids like some of these books. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys on my next video real soon. Bye.